guys, it's horrible. Just a little break in the rain. It has rained for so goddamn long though. It's Saturday morning, guys, you know what that is. Come hell or high water, it is the bread sale day. So I've been there, no field footage, no tilly playing in the river this morning. The field's just too waterlogged. Instead of your normal Saturday morning, me rambling around the fields, I've got something fun lined up for you. Stay tuned.
I had no idea how toxic and close-minded the fitness community truly was.
You're so stupid.
I made a chest workout video last week where I was pinned to a goddamn cross. The amount of criticism was unbelievable. Same with my back workout video yesterday.
You're so stupid. Now little Frank is presuming to tell virtually every single bodybuilder in the whole world that they're doing it wrong. Well, what do you expect from a guy that only promotes the eating of foods rich in fat, trans fats and cholesterol, you know, the drivers of the main cause of death in humans? He seems to be as great a physique coach as he is a nutritionist.
Judging by the amount of negative comments Frank has received, both in his chest video and his most recent video, it's quite pleasing to know that his commenters aren't stupid. It looks like they are when they believe his diet advice, his crazy, unscientific diet advice. But pleasingly, they aren't going to kill themselves in the gym. In this video, we are going to look at 3 examples. Frank's bodybuilding videos have been critiqued by Hench Herbivore and by Vegan Gains. They are much more experienced than I am with these things, so I will let them explain what Frank is doing wrong. But I have some advice of my own for Frankie. First of all, this was me last week, wondering about Frank's extremely poor form. And on your screen here is a fine figure of a man, Frankie Tufano, telling everybody how to do weight training. And forgive me guys, I haven't trained for a long time, but that looks like really bad form to me. Isn't he going to do his neck and his shoulders a great deal of damage? And Hench Herbivore said just that.
The exercises you are performing, you're performing horribly. Instead of having your shoulders depressed and retracted, you've got your shoulders up by your ears and protracted, so they're actually leading the movement.
Next, this one makes me absolutely cringe. As someone with a bad back myself, oh my God, Frank, what are you doing? Vegan Gains will explain.
I'm a huge fan of hyperextensions. If you make sure to really squeeze your back at the top of the movement, they don't just work your lower back, which is what most people believe. You can stimulate the middle, upper back, and even some of the lats very effectively.
Then Frank did this. I think he was trying to demonstrate hypers, but all he really did here was ensure that he will develop a herniated disc in his lower back.
This is really serious advice if you want to avoid extreme pain and loss of movement, loss of ability. I have degenerative disc disease. I acquired it during martial arts where I massively overtrained in my 20s, and I was training one day and I literally heard a pop, and I trained through it and it got better, and then my back got worse and it got better and it got worse, blah blah blah. Many years later I finally went to find out what was wrong with my back, and it is bad guys. To cut a very long and painful story short, when I eventually had an MRI scan several years ago on my spine, I have got disc disease. On your screen, you will see what a normal disc looks like at the top. You will see what a degenerating disc looks like. It is when the disc starts to fail, the disc between the vertebra, the soft spongy stuff, the tissue between the vertebra, which keeps your back supple and pain-free and protects the bones, the vertebra, from rubbing against each other. When the discs start to break down, a number of things can occur. You can get a bulging disc. That's the first sign of trouble. When the disc actually herniates and pops out and starts to press on the nerves within the spinal column, that is extremely debilitating and disabling and extremely painful. You can also get thinning discs, where the discs literally just thin out to become virtually nothing, and they offer no protection to the bones, and the bones start to rub against each other. When that happens, the bones microfracture, and you can get infection within the bone marrow of your vertebra themselves. That is incredibly painful. On my MRI scan, I had one bulging disc, which was very bulging, almost to the point of herniation. That was my that was my L5S1. My L4-L5 was termed a thinning disc, but it actually had absolutely no material, no fluid left inside it, and the bones were rubbing against each other. What had happened, unbeknownst to me, is that microfractures had occurred in the two vertebrae above and below that thinning disc, and had caused what is called Modic changes within the bone marrow. Modic changes are like, imagine a tooth abscess in your jaw. It's a very similar thing to that, where you kind of get pus and infection building up within it, and it is incredibly painful. It is self-limiting though. Your body fights the infection and eventually leaves what is akin to scar tissue inside the bone marrow. So the vertebra is permanently damaged, but the pain, the ulceration, the abscess, the tissue, whatever's inside, the pus, that eventually gets sorted out by your body. That is what has happened to me. I've got one bulging disc, one disc that is virtually non-existent. I've had Modic changes and got through them through years of incredible pain, where I continued to persevere. And crazily, my body has rectified the problem for me, but I've got scar tissue inside my two vertebrae, and I will always have the thinning disc, and the bulging disc is currently kind of just, I suppose, sitting there and isn't causing me any problems at the moment. But I am not allowed to train. I have been told under no circumstances must I do back leg gym exercises ever again. That is how serious this stuff can be. So guys, take it from one who knows the painful truth. Look after your spine. If you get an injury, don't train through it. And please, when you're in the gym, don't do crazy exercises that are going to result in disc damage, disc bulging, disc herniation. Or else your bodybuilding, your fitness career is over. It is over. And so, therefore, it's pleasing that so many people recognise what Frank is doing wrong. In usual Frankie style, everyone else is wrong and Frankie is right. So Frank's been criticised throughout his comments for the weight that he's lifting, the light weight that he's lifting. And he says, no, lightweights are actually heavyweights.
10 or 15 pounds when used in that isolation bicep curl is by no means a light weight. It might be light in comparison to the weight you guys are usually jerking around with your whole body, but it is more than enough weight to effectively recruit all of the muscle fibers in the bicep. This is a moderate to heavy amount of weight when being used with proper form.
This clear nonsense has been debunked by Vegan Gains. And Vegan Gains shows the example of Naturally Stephanie, a female vegan bodybuilder who is doing dumbbell curls with the same weights as Frankie. So a vegan girl can lift the same weights as big butch carnivore Frankie Tufano.
So Frank is claiming that people are wrongfully accusing him of being weak because he's using strict form, and with the strict form he's using, the weights he's lifting with are actually quite heavy. And he gave the example doing dumbbell curls with 10 or 15 pounds. That's actually heavy weight for him because of the use of strict form. Well, no, Frank, if you're only able to do dumbbell curls with 10 or 15 pounds, you are extraordinarily weak for a man, and if you honestly think that's heavy weight, I suggest going to see a doctor because your testicles might not be functioning properly. And again, Stephanie, Naturally Stephanie as the example here, a vegan girl, here's footage of her doing dumbbell curls with 7-kilogram dumbbells or 15 pounds. So a vegan girl is using as much weight as you are for dumbbell curls.
Oh guys, and just not to be outdone, I had to do an experiment. Yes, I have some dumbbells. I do occasionally do mainly shoulders. Guess what, guys? Just today you can see proof of the time and the weight on screen. So I had 4 times 2.5 kilogram weights. So that's 10 kilos each arm, and you can see on the screen me doing dumbbell curls with 10 kilogram weights. Slowly, deliberate movement, and I did 4 sets of 3 of these dumbbell curls. Guys, keep making those vegan girly gains.